guys, it's Rachel Guest here, your resident Tough Cookie, and thank you for joining us on the Train with Tough Cookie podcast, where we talk about the personal in personal training. And chances are that if you have ever visited the town of Burbank, California, you have literally run into my amazing guest. When she isn't busy being the head of marketing, managing a full staff over at the Burbank and Encino Fleet Feet stores over 50 plus hours a week, she is consistently sticking to her early 6 a.m. training sessions, all while completing her master's degree from Pepperdine University. She is single-handedly a one-woman fitness training hype group, the common sense voice of reason in the midst of your workout storm. I see her as probably one of the most well-spoken, smartest people that I know, and can rock a mohawk like no other. Someone whom I wish to be when I grew up, Miss Becky Wagner.
Wow. So now is when I turn down that inner voice that wants to tell me you're so wrong.
Yes, because I think last time our last guest was like, oh, I don't know what to do with that. And I said, you could be proud of it because it's all true.
Well, that is definitely one of the things that you have to learn is to be proud of it and just take a compliment. So thank you.
You are very welcome, Miss Becky. Yeah. So we're going to start off with learning on how you first met me. And when I say learning how you first met, I mean, I want to learn as well because I totally forgot. I kind of forget all the important people that I meet in my life. I honestly forgot how I met my husband for the first time. So we're going to talk about how you met me.
All right, I don't feel bad then.
Okay. That's why I always preface it with that. I'm like, listen, it's not me being a jerk. I used to drink a lot, so it really just hurt my brain. So sorry. All right. So we'll go with how you met me and how you continue to somehow stay friends with me.
I remember meeting you because I was working behind the counter at Fleet Feet Burbank, and we heard a rumor that somebody was going to rent, or they were actually looking to rent the place next door, and it was going to be a gym, and we were all very excited, and then all of a sudden, boom, in through the door, you came bounding.
I would correct you, but we all know that's probably true. Okay.
Just this barrel of energy. Hi, I'm Rachel, and I'm going to be working next door, and we're going to do this, and we're going to be so much fun, and we're going to have a great time. And from that moment on, everything you said was true.
Okay. I remember the first time I met Colin. Colin's another guy that works there. It doesn't matter. But I remember he was like, I said something to him like, we're going to move in. And I was like, yeah, I watched an episode or 2 of House Hunters, so I know it's going to take us time to remodel it. And he laughed, and I was like, oh, this guy likes jokes. That was the one other time. That was it. But awesome. So you started working out with us 2 years ago?
Oh my gosh, has it been that long?
I don't know.
We'll go with it.
I'll say
agree.
2 years. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to say 2 years. And then what was your journey up until that moment to where you thought strong enough? And I only say strong because pretty much a lot of people that walk through those doors get really intimidated because they see all the crap that we have in there, and they're like, oh no, I can't do that. And like, what was your kind of journey to being like, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to know this crazy lady.
I think that was it, was just making the leap to, I need to get back into this. Mm-hmm. I have worked with personal trainers in the past, really great personal trainers. I had a great foundation on movement and body position and just how to respect your trainer and how your trainer is going to respect you. I've also had really bad trainers, so don't think that, I don't have fun stories about, the trainer that didn't show up for 2 hours and then showed up just coked out, but whatever.
Oh, can we please come back to that?
And dressed like, what was he was dressed in a Halloween costume too, and it was not Halloween.
I was going to say, if it was Halloween, I'm not going to lie, that's kind of excusable. But.
Yeah. But so I had spent several years working out with somebody who became a really good friend of mine, which seems to be a habit of mine. His name is Brian, and during some downtime financially, I had to stop working out with him, and I knew how much I really missed it, and that I really love that personal attention, because I could be the smartest person in the world, but I can't remember from one session to the next what a reverse crunch is or anything.
No, when I write stuff on the board, everyone what? Okay, let me.
Totally.
Well, it's like reading, I was talking with another client of mine, it's like reading, I don't know if you've ever done this before, but people who write choreography down, it's like another language. So I get it, and it's okay, and you're not the first person. So
yeah, no, totally. I'm always like, well, and okay, so now that I've remembered what a reverse crunch is,
Yes.
remind me what the cues are,
Yeah.
and I will need some sort of correction every single time. So that's one of the reasons why I really like working with a personal trainer, and I'm not going to go do it on my own because I'm not going to know, and I'm not going to, I mean, I can be very firm with myself,
Yeah.
but not in this area. And I know that this is kind of a weakness of mine, but I do know what the solution is. So that's where it works out to go with Tough Cookie all the time.
Well, you're not alone, because even trainers need trainers. And I have been 100% this morning was not just in the mood. I was like, I'm just going to go for a run. But the fact is that, like, it's still something that's enjoyable, even though you might not be pushing yourself as much. And that's kind of where I'm trying to find where I fit in again still, or find out where my motivation is. And so did you always have like just a motivation to just be like, hey, I want to learn something new, or I want to finally get this down? Or was it just like, I have to, because from my background, it was always like, oh, you're not perfect, so go do this.
That's exactly it. Yeah,
okay.
it was, I'm going to be perfect.
Yeah.
And I'm going to absorb everything that I read or everything that I hear, and I'm going to try everything. And that's one of the reasons why I want to put out right now. I do have a history of a eating disorder, but I will not explain in detail what I did or how much I weighed or how much I lost, because I know as a person with an eating disorder, I'm going to cling to that and be like, oh, I'm going to do what she did.
Yeah. Yes. And that, I'm gonna try and touch on it without touching on it. But there was a program that I went to where that was like, okay, let's use a different analogy. I was reading Portia de Rossi's book.
Okay.
And Portia, de Rossi did, I think, well-knownly have an eating disorder. And I read her book, and it wasn't, I think as she put it, and I don't know her personally, I think she put it as like, hey, this is how crazy I was, and this is me in recovery now. But I looked at it as like, if you run with a fan on the treadmill, you won't go back to work being sweaty. So that is 100% any kind of disorder mindset of like, the numbers are really that important. And I just talked about it this week, where it's like a number does not define you at all whatsoever.
No, I learned when I was at my lowest, I was at my most depressed. I was drinking as much as I possibly could. I was such a bitch.
I can't really see that.
Oh
okay.
My gosh.
I kind of would want to see that now. I'm just kidding.
That's how you can see that I'm doing really well with my eating disorder if I'm nice.
Okay. That's true. I mean, so was fitness kind of a way to, I know you, okay, maybe I should redefine fitness. Was your workouts, like, again, mine was actually the intro into this was running, like, I want to run better. How do I do that? So that was something that I was like, this isn't just to become better at running. This is just to become a better person. Was that kind of your motivation as soon as you were like what would you remember that this is not asking, you don't have to get so specific, like the turning point of like, I don't want to feel like this anymore. How do I not?
Well,
Excuse me.
Yeah, I can actually say that the turning point was when I got sober. So that was not my introduction to running, but my introduction to running came 2 years after that.
Okay.
And it's sort of the all or nothing mindset of an addict. The very first race I ever signed up for was a marathon. I had never...
you really just... you said,
exactly.
No, I'm doing it.
I listened to a pitch from Team in Training about how I could earn money for Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, and they would in turn train me to run the Honolulu Marathon in 1999. And I was all in. I signed up at that moment, and boy, I was a bad runner. I was great at fundraising.
What a great way to find out. Like if you were going to figure it out, let's figure it out this way.
Yeah. But I knew nothing about training at that point.
Okay.
I didn't know anything about nutrition for running, or I didn't even know Gatorade existed. I mean, it was just strictly water, my first marathon.
Yeah.
I ended up in the tent with, hyponutria, because I was just totally the opposite of dehydrated. But
yeah.
yeah, I was just oozing
You were
things.
done. She's like, this is my first marathon. Just help me.
Yeah. Oh my God. It took me 7.5 hours that first time.
Hey, but you did it.
I did.
Yeah.
I did it. I carried a Walkman cassette player. It got broken on one song and could only play half of one song. But I listened to that half of one song for about the last 3 miles.
Do you remember what song it was?
It was To Be Real.
Oh,
And I will not sing it right now.
okay. We can't afford it anyway.
Right?
But I will never play that in the studio. Okay,
No, I love it. Every time I hear it, I go back to 1999 and crossing that finish line and then immediately passing out.
Oh, no. Oh, that's so beautiful. There's never not going to be a day that I don't think about this now. That's so great. Oh, Jesus. But was that the last marathon you ever did?
No, I've actually done 11.
Oh, my God.
Which I don't even think you knew.
No, I didn't know. I mean, I knew that you know. I knew that you know a lot. Yep. Or knew that you know. No. Yep. Having another stroke. I know that you know a lot, and I know you know a lot about running. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, so
Excuse me.
I did the Honolulu Marathon in 1999.
Okay.
And continued with team and training for a couple more marathons. I did Portland in 2001 and San Diego in 2001. And then I moved over to AIDS Marathon, started working with them as a site assistant, not quite a coach, but somebody who would go around and pick people up that couldn't run anymore.
Oh, you were the DNFer?
I was. You didn't want to see my car.
Oh, but I bet you were super supportive, though, of the people.
Oh, no, absolutely. And I loved
Yeah.
it. And that's where I learned the Jeff Galloway method of running, which is run, walk, run, walk. And that's kind of what I adopted for many years then after that. Maybe I wasn't the fastest. Maybe it didn't improve my speed, but it definitely improved my endurance. So I was able to continue to do the marathons. And what always drew me to running was not the running itself, but the community. And I remember my first day as a mentor for Fleet Feet Burbank. I stood up and Colin introduced me and I said, "Hi, I'm Becky. I hate running."
Oh. And then everyone was like, her, I want her. I would. I'd be like, yes.
But I guess a little part of him died inside.
Oh, was he like, I made a huge mistake.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, Colin. God bless him. But that's true, though.
No, it's true. I don't like running. I'm not built to be a runner.
Yeah.
Some people are built to be runners, and they excelled in high school, and they were in track, and they did cross country, and they did all this stuff. I didn't. I was sort of a bookworm in school. I was going out to bars in high school.
Listen.
I had my mindset on other things,
Yes.
let's say.
Yes.
So as far as becoming a runner, it was definitely a later in life kind of thing, and it's more mind over matter for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know about this runner's high that they talk about. I think I've had like one good run where I thought, oh, wow, this is easy. Every other run is a slog, and it's all just about getting done.
Really?
But I like it at the end, like what you were saying
Yeah.
about, now I forget what you were saying.
Oh, it's okay.
About going
Welcome to my world.
There's no such thing as a bad run.
Amen.
So you will always feel better at the end of the run. I will always feel better at the end of a personal training session. Yeah. I may at 5:30 a.m. be thinking of every excuse under the sun not to go in, but I know that I'm going to feel better once I get done. So if I can at least break through that wall and go to something that's better for me, then that's what I'll do.
Can I give you one of these? It's for like a verbal one. For those of you who can't see me,
she just gave me the finger. It was weird.
If a pat on the shoulder is
okay.
that I have gotten those texts of like, I don't want to do this, but you're there anyway.
Yeah.
And that's always like, hey, you did it. It's like, that's totally fine. And I don't, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, sometimes admitting that you don't want to do it. I mean, be real. It's not like everything is always rosy and I feel like I don't want to do half the stuff I do.
And in order, just to not sound so sadistic, I always tell people in class, and I don't know if you were there when I did this, I'm like, yeah, complain. And then people will take it like, oh, what is she going to do to me if I complain? I'm like, I'm not going to do anything. I just want you to, A, complain, because A, you're going to breathe, and also B, you're going to get it out. And I'm finding more and more that if I just say things, and it's taking me an extremely long time, if I just say things that's on my mind, like I don't have to do it. It's that all or nothing mentality that I so want to focus on because I don't think it gets talked enough about.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
And you can even see it. Let's take some big corporate gym, whatever gym, envision in your mind, guys. But you see it with trainers. Like they're either the elite and they have so many clients and they're this amount of body fat. And then you have the new ones who are there just fresh out of whatever certification, which is fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with either one. I just want to clarify that. But it's like, you got to be this way and you got to live it and you got to breathe it and da-da-da-da. And then the other ones over here are like, oh, I got to be like that in order. No, you absolutely do not have to. It is such like an aesthetic. I'm sorry, I'm going to start getting angry. But to me, it's like that's the aesthetic everyone wants and that's what they think and da-da-da-da.
Well, I think some of it goes back to the show The Biggest Loser. Like we all learned that Jillian Michaels was going to be the one, that's how a trainer is. They yell at you and they don't want to listen to you and they're going to tell you to keep going and they're going to push you. And that's not, well, yes, there are trainers that do that.
Yes.
But if that's not what you want, if that's not what you respond to, don't go to that trainer.
Right?
I mean, I was really lucky to find my friend Brian as a trainer because he knew how to push me. He knew exactly where my limits were. He knew when I said no for the fourth time, I really meant it.
Yeah. We weren't just being nice. Like, no.
I'll push back, I'll push back, but then there is a breaking point, and it works out great. I mean, especially if the trainer understands that they're pushing the client to do the best that the client can do, and the client knows that that's what the trainer is doing. Yeah. But the trainer's not making a personal judgment on you, like, oh, you mean you can't bench press that? No, you're telling me put on 5 more pounds because you think that I can do it, and we want to see if I can. So it's a little bit of understanding exactly what the motivation is on both sides.
And I think it's a big thing. So funny that you keep bringing these things up. I was just talking to another client where his spouse is very much the person that will walk in and interview the trainer. And so she's not been able to find one that she kind of wants. I mean, he's like, oh, too tricky, but I get it. It's somebody who you're going to have a long relationship with. Like, you have to know me for a little bit longer, but but it's like you want to be able to go in, and I always tell people, and I even wrote something about it, it was like, interview your trainer. If this person is absolutely not somebody that you, like, I always ask them, what is this trainer working on right now? For them, not for you, for themselves. Are they planning other goals? Right now it's a little tricky, but, ask them what their past experience is with some, because not that I'm saying that trainers who don't go through, like, this emotional, spiritual journey of where they found their voice and now are sitting in an audio booth telling you about it are the best ones. There are some that are just science-based and they're great at that. And I call them the left brain trainers because I'm a total right brain person. But you want to find someone that you like. You're going to be there at 5 o'clock in the morning hanging out with them.
But I think to talk about somebody who's interviewing the trainer, I think you actually have to go through a session or two with that trainer.
A real session, because there are some sessions that,
Yeah, no, you definitely have to go through a real session to find out exactly how much of that pushback you're going to get or you want. Or, are they paying attention to you or are they on their phone? Like...
That is the one thing.
I think I just saw a nerve pop up.
I get it. And sometimes my trainer will be on the phone, and that I understand, but I will also be like, hey, you. But anyway, thank you for pointing that out. Not that you're not a bad trainer if you're on your phone, but still, know that your client doesn't like that.
Notice that your client is noticing that.
Yes. Oh, good Lord. Well, I think that talking about like an aesthetic world, because right now I'm not going to say what timeline we're in, but it's more of a visual society because a lot of us can't really do much in general. So it's all, again, if you can't see me through the radio, and I said radio, I realize that this is not going to be on I say it every time, damn it. You picking up an iPad or an iPhone and being on your phone as your trainer, and like, this is all we have to go on now, which is great because you can see people's progress, but you also have that again, going back to that all or nothing mentality of like, well, if I don't look like this, then I can't have an Instagram account, or I can't run my first marathon, or I can't do this, or I can't bench press, or I can't pick up a barbell. And that's so not the truth. And I guess finding a way to navigate that.
Yeah, no, you know what, you just reminded me of a situation. I am a mentor with a program that mentors at-risk youth here in LA, and they just sent a request for me to send a picture so that they could show me and my mentee and showcase what a great relationship we had, and I didn't send a picture.
Oh, you did?
Because I just didn't feel comfortable with my picture. And you're pointing out and making me realize that that's a really selfish thing to do, that it wasn't about what I look like. It isn't about that at all. It's about this relationship with this person.
Oh my God. Okay.
And being able to spread the joy and let other people have that kind of a joy with a mentoring relationship. And now I feel really bad.
Oh, you should feel bad. First off, I can't believe I didn't add that in my speech. I can now, haha. But like, I just want you to know that you're not alone in that, because there have been so many, and it's just, I think pulling back the curtain a little bit more on myself is back in therapy a long time ago. I mean, not that it's ever stopped, but my therapist was like, hey, I want you to go back to, at this time it was this 10-year-old girl, and what would you, as whatever age I was, I honestly can't remember, what would you now tell her? And if I could do that now, and I know that all of you who are listening right now are like, Jesus, if I only knew. Like, there's so many missed opportunities and so many things, and I'm just learning now that like, it doesn't have to be perfect. Again, going back to that all or nothing mentality.
Yeah.
Clearly, this is only my second podcast, and clearly I'm great at it. Like, it's like, who cares? We're just here to talk about, like, again, because fitness is more than picking up a dumbbell and awkwardly trying to curl it to your face. It peels back all these layers. And
Well, I think that brings up another thing about the relationship with your trainer is
Yes.
you are going to be in a situation where you're vulnerable, and you have, oh my gosh, so vulnerable. Whether it's looking in the mirror, which I hate, or it's attempting something that you're not sure that you can do, something that you're not the best at, you really have to just own the fact that you are not going to be the best person in the gym, because there's no such thing.
Yeah.
It's almost like being the best person at yoga. There is no such thing.
Yeah.
And you just have to accept that this person is going to see you in this moment, and they better respect you. And if they don't, get out.
Yeah.
Go find
please
somebody
run
else.
the other way.
Yeah.
Listen, please run the other way. But that's so funny, because that's why I don't like yoga. Because you can't win at it. And it's so funny as a marathon run, a subpar marathon runner, as myself would say, you're never going to win it.
No.
Like, you're not going to win unless you're, I don't know his name, Meb. I don't want to say it. Kipchoge. Haha, that's the one I can never say. Unless you're them, you're not going to win that 300,000 or whatever it is. So just do it because you like it. And then going back to, like, I'm just so fascinated, because I've been talking to more and more people about this subject, about how their first or last or whatever race that they did, they were like, oh, it was so fucking horrible. Yeah, so I'm going to do another one. Like, it's such a, I think, not I want to say codependent mentality. I know that I'm that way, but like, running kicks your ass, and marathons kick your ass. And to keep coming back to it and being like, yep, let's do it again. You know?
It's true, and each marathon is a different experience, whether it's a different course, it's a different whether you're in a different place in your life. It gets harder. I'm going to tell everybody I'm sorry, but it gets harder with every year. You don't get better ever.
Nope, because your body changes. We just talked about this last time. The weather changes. For some reason, the course might be. Do you ever look at the course, by the way, before you do it?
Not usually.
Okay, thank you.
Well,
They send me the thing. I'm like, nope.
I like to run in places where I haven't been before. I usually do the sort of travel marathons. That's why I did Portland. And I was like, I don't know anything about Portland, so let me go. And I'm going to run, and everything that I see is going to be new. And then there was a train that stopped me.
Wait, you had to wait for a train?
I had to wait for a train.
Was it like one of the long ones?
Yeah.
Oh.
I know. So I went from, 5.5 hours to 5 5 hours and 45 minutes or
I would have
something.
been like, there was a train, you need to roll back that clock.
No, it was a great exercise to be like, okay, you know what? My time doesn't matter. It's all about enjoying this.
See,
I know
look
you
at
hate me.
I hate the fact that you're so right, because I'm like, huh? Like, again, I don't know if this is you. And I think for myself, it's the eating disorder and body dysmorphia, or whatever you want to call it, the messed upness in my brain, where it's like, you didn't do your 20 miler, your nutrition wasn't on point, you had a cocktail the night before, oh, but you expect a PR, and then when you don't, you're like, what's your why? And I don't, so it's like, oh, I'm on, this train stopped me. Okay, so
Well, I
what's
think
the big deal?
some of it is maturity, because you're right. There is, not to say that you're not mature.
No, that's okay.
What I'm saying is, like, you learn that, sure, there was a time where you could run a marathon after having a cocktail the night before and not having your
True.
nutrition on point,
Yeah.
and everything went fine. And then the next year it didn't.
Yeah.
And the year after that, it really didn't.
Yeah.
So whatever worked in the past is not going to work in the future, no matter what. Like, even working out with my trainer, Brian, for 7 years, if I did the exact same workouts that we had done for 7 years, right now, I wouldn't have the same results at all. Yeah. So it was nice to change it up. Nice to meet you, have a whole different sort of experience.
Yeah. Well, I hope it was a good experience. I mean, sometimes, but I was just thinking about, like, I hope my brain doesn't break like it did on Wednesday. And like, thank God, just everyone know that your trainer's going to have a rough time sometimes. Even she's going to, or he's going to forget what they wrote down.
Oh no, that's totally fine.
Oh God. Well, let's get back on track, Rachel. So now that the fact that, was running the only thing that, like, you did competitively, or was there something else? Like, did you want to go into, like, I got a trainer, you got a trainer to be better at running, or did you get a trainer just to get the body fat down and all the general stuff?
To get the body fat down and just to see how much stronger I could get, and if it was possible to get any sort of definition. I've never had that fear of, oh my God, I'm going to get big. Because I know how things work, and it doesn't work that way.
Okay, thank you.
But I will say, I always measured my progress on what I could carry from my car into my house from the grocery store. Nice. I used to have a cat, and if I could carry the 30-pound cat litter in one hand and something in another hand, I was doing really good.
Yeah.
And that meant that, okay, so some of those workouts were worth it. Probably the biggest success I had was when my car broke down, and I had to push it down 2 blocks.
You pushed your car
by myself.
I'm learning so much today.
I was so excited. I
should have done this before you came here. Sorry. I'm going to put that in there. Okay. Well, Jesus. So it was more about, like, how much I could do, as opposed to how much I could lose.
Exactly. I mean, okay. I definitely had and still have a weight goal, but it was, and I realized, I think the weight goal came second. So I was working out, I was doing a lot of lifting, but I wasn't seeing any results because I wasn't eating properly. And I realized that, oh, if I just start eating a little bit more healthy, a little bit more vegetables, a little bit more fruit, a little less ice cream, a little less pizza, that the money that I'm paying for this trainer is actually going to go farther.
Yeah. And I like that you say little, because it doesn't have to be none. And again, there goes the vein. Again, it doesn't have to be, you never ever can have that again. And that's why when you're interviewing your trainer and you ask about nutrition, there shouldn't be, it's not a one size fits all program. The fitness and the nutrition as well. I know some people that are vegetarians, and guys, be prepared, hold on to your butts, eat carbs, eat bread, and they keep their body fat down. And it's just, I kind of lost my track of thought because my brain started to explode. But the fact that, like, it's not do this, then that. There are certain programs, and people have found success with them, but I always ask them, like, is it gonna be worth it to do this the rest of your life?
Is it sustainable?
Yes.
For sure. Yeah.
Like, are you gonna be okay in 30 years when I'm hopefully retired and, like, well, I gotta make sure that, I don't have any bread or whatever your thing is, or no pizza? Like, that seems like a horrible life.
Yeah, I mean, I've done those times where I've given up ice cream and I've given up pizza for a year.
Oh my God.
Yes, yeah. But it was all sheer willpower and stubbornness and all or nothing.
It is all or nothing,
I don't have any sense of moderation in my life. So sometimes that is the way I have to go. I have to say no ice cream for this month. I do no restaurant months. Sort of, that stops me from extra calories. It stops me from extra money. And it forces me to figure out what I'm going to eat ahead of time.
Yeah.
But it's all about learning yourself, how you react to things, what's going to work for you. And you're right, what works for you is probably not what your trainer, what worked for your trainer, what worked for your friend. It's just like when people come in to buy shoes and they say, oh, I want this brand because my friend runs in this brand. And it's like, well, that might be great for your friend, but that's probably not the right shoe for you. So what worked for somebody else may not work for you. So that's another reason why I don't like to talk about, oh, my eating disorder, I weighed, because, it's probably not going to work for you. And it's all about really figuring out what works for you. You do have to try a bunch of different things and be aware and play around with those variables, I suppose.
I think that that's also something that I keep using the phrase fitness. Let's use the phrase journey. Okay. that this journey, and if I'm watching, I'm going to forget it again, don't worry. But for those of you who are keeping track at home, this is your journey that you're on, and you're going to be on it your entire life. And now I'm realizing self-awareness is a huge thing, because we were just talking about this the other day, where I am now knowing this month, I don't know why, or leading into this month, this week, it has been all about, I have to work out. If I don't work out today, I'm going to get so fat, and like that negative, right? My twitches are coming back. And I know that it's happening, and I just realized that, oh, you got to take a week off. You got to stay out of the gym, stay off the trails, stay off the treadmill, whatever, because that's just the other compulsion that's coming back. Like the compulsion to throw up, the compulsion, the compulsion, I can't even say it right. The compulsion to eat, the compulsion to weigh myself, to do all those little things that we used to do. Yeah. When I say we, I say me and my eating disorder, used to do to stay sane. And now I can feel them like, hey.
Yeah. But it's about control.
Yeah.
So you're looking for something to control right now. Yeah. Your mind, your body feels like there are things happening that it can't control. So it's going to revert to what it knows it can control. It can control how many times you work out. It can control how much food you put in your mouth. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it was the new issues of the pandemic that are causing you a lot of, oh my gosh, I don't know where my business is going to be. Yeah. I don't know where my Christmas is going to be. I don't know where we're going to be in a year. That's probably the control issue that is really getting to you right now. But that's the thing, is you acknowledge it, you realize it, and you're like, okay, so what am I going to do instead?
Yeah. And it just thinks about I swear I'm going to get it together one of these days. The thing I was thinking about before coming over here is having that and being able to not only say that and feeling like, I mean, I know that I'm judged every day. It's none of my business what people think of me, and that's fine. But the fact that just to completely let that go and have this insecurity come out, but also this journey, this fitness journey that I've been on, I don't know if you've ever experienced this. I was never I've always been loud, but I'd never been confident.
Oh.
It was and this whole thing of I don't want to drop the barbell. And now I'm you next door, oh, it's fine, Rachel's working out again. Now it's not only giving me the external strength, but it's giving me this internal voice to be okay, hey, that idiot, and she's an idiot, that eating disorder is an idiot. And now there's a more positive side of me who's oh, let's feed her more. And I don't know, hopefully this doesn't sound too, it's getting in a little hippy dippy, but the fact that I had never found that before. I'd, done therapy, I'd done any kind of eating disorder, whatever, counseling. I never found that just talking about it. So physically doing something, maybe that's because I'm, again, a right brain person. So if I see myself doing it, that person is I'm here. I'm a tough cookie. I can do this. I don't know if you've ever experienced anything like that. Was there a pivotal, hey, I know we talked about the kitty litter. I'm sorry, I was listening. I swear to God.
No, yeah.
But like,
I'm trying to think of, I am never confident as a runner. Never, ever, ever when I'm out there. No, this is kind of funny.
Yeah.
So we've discussed Colin, my boss, and nicest guy on earth.
Yes.
But I came back from a 3-mile run, and it was just the timing. I came around the corner, he was standing with his friends, and they burst out laughing. It had nothing to do with me.
Oh,
It had nothing to do with me.
Oh.
But I screamed and cussed at him.
You're right. I've never heard you cuss at anybody, maybe like in class, but Colin was like, oh.
Exactly.
Everyone's butt puckers.
He was like, I don't know what just hit me. But that's the thing is he caught me at a really vulnerable moment where I was in my head and sure that everybody was looking at me and going, oh my God, she's way too big to try and run, and look at her and look at that jiggle, and oh my God, she better cross in front of my car because that's going to dent. So like all the different things that your mind tells you.
We are the worst to ourselves.
Yes.
It doesn't I forgot who said it. Let's just say my mom. But I think she was like, if you talk to anybody the way that you talk to yourself, you would have no friends.
No,
like what?
It's true. I've heard it from other people, and it makes sense. But then you're right. It kind of sounds hippy dippy in the moment because you're like, yeah, but shut up.
Yeah, but that's not what I want to think. And it goes back to like, this is what I'm comfortable with. Like the beginning when I read all those nice things about you, which are very true, and these very awesome things that you're telling me about. It's like, no, they're right, and you need to be amazing, and you need to own up to it, and just know that you're an awesome person, everybody. That
you're right. It goes for everybody, and I think especially for females, and I think that it begins with us being positive towards other females.
Yeah,
and just being encouraging, and not like, oh, your hair is so pretty.
I love how you could just wear anything.
Yeah. I would
That's my favorite line.
I would rather someone say, wow, that was a really I can't even say anything intelligent now.
Well, again, welcome to my
world. But I think, sure, deep down I would love to be complimented on my looks, but also, tell me what a great business person I am.
Yes.
And let's focus on things beyond looks for a while. Let's go to the gym.
Yeah, guys, everybody, we should still be, researching or trainwithtoughcookie.com. But right now, I think that, like we were just talking about control, there's not a lot of that right now. So it's so easy for us to slip back into those old habits, as i.e. what I mentally am doing now. I'm not doing any of them, doing any of my old horrible things, but just that mindset. It's just such a thing. And I even just wrote about it, like how we have to, how you get prepared for a long run. You got your whatevers, the things you eat, the things you drink, your shoes, you clip your toenails, which I did not realize you had to do that until about 2 years ago. And I was like, it's a good point.
I'll introduce you to Body Glove next.
I did not know about that. You don't realize how chafed you are until you get into the shower.
Absolutely.
And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oops. But we do all these precautions before we go outside, theoretically. Again, smart runners do, not myself. And there has to be that mindset change, I think, in order for by myself, not you, everyone knows I'm not pointing at them, to stick with it and to find joy in the process. Because you have to fix that mentality. If you go in with it like I did for so many years of like, oh, well, it's not right yet. And then you're just going to go insane. And so having to fix that mentality before you set foot in the gym, I swear it will help you not only just to be like, well, I can lift this much, which is impressive, or I can weigh this much, which is also impressive, but that and $4.95 will get you a coffee at Starbucks. Like,
exactly.
What are you going to change about yourself? So,
I mean, I think that part of it is that we do live in LA.
Yeah.
So we're surrounded. What I want to say is we're surrounded by beautiful people.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah.
So there's that sort of, I do want to look like that person in the Ralph's line.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, now that you say that, I'm like, especially when I was teaching cycle in North Hollywood, everybody that took my class was beautiful, and I'm like, oh, kid want to come take class for me? So this nerd, it was nice, but it was also like, wow, okay, everyone just comes here and like, not that there's literally, I want you to lean into your radio, kids. There's nothing wrong with wearing makeup to work out, but God bless you. I did it once for a shoot and they were like, no, you sweat way too much.
Oh my gosh.
But like, so thinking that we live in LA and that you're on this journey right now, do you ever find yourself being at like a stopping point? And I say that is because I thought, backstory on myself is I reached my quote unquote goal weight about 11, 12 years ago. How I did it was through cocaine and bulimia. So ta-da! You're welcome, America. But like, I now know that was not the finish. That was just the start. And I want you to like, how do you feel right now on your journey? Is there something that you're being prepared for, or is there something that you want to do more of?
Yeah, actually, sure, I have a number in mind, but that is not really my goal right now. My goal is to get up off the floor quicker.
Mine is the couch. So
I mean, once I'm down on the ground, it's, you got to make a 4-point.
It's okay.
And then crawling up, and I don't want to do that anymore. I want to fall. My mom has gotten to the point where she falls and she can't get up, and that's very, very scary. Yeah. And I want to put that off as long as possible for myself. And I want to be able to get down on the ground and play with my niece and not be like, okay, well, now I'm down here. What else can I do?
Yeah. Oh, but hey, being out on the floor is a lot of fun, first off. Second off, but that's scary. I mean, that's scary for a lot of reasons too. Like not for you, but like for mom. It's, that's a real life thing.
Well, and the only way that I'm going to be able to prevent that is starting now and staying flexible.
Yes.
And strong and what's another good word?
The first thing that came to mind, only because I'm thinking of myself, is sturdy.
There you go. Sturdy, yeah. You got to get your balance going. And that's that. So that's my goal.
Okay. That's a beautiful.
That's my journey. And I guess my journey is to always get up off the floor.
Yeah, that for me, that is an ongoing journey.
So it started with sobriety.
But that's a real amazing thing that you should pat yourself on the shoulder for, is that is something you've stuck with. That has been your why for so long. There was something else that you were talking about that I wanted to bring up, and now my brain has gone blank, so welcome to my life. I think it was more, we talked about the all or nothing mentality. You talked about the journey. Oh, your why of like, that's your why. And I encourage people to kind of look at what their why is, because if it's 5:30 in the morning and you're like, you know what? It's 35 degrees in LA for some reason, and I don't want to go. That why has to kick in. And so again, like we talked about last podcast, is we can get you to that number, whatever you want that number to be. But is that your why? Is that going to, keep you going? Is that going to,
You're not going to be any happier. I mean, I've learned that. That's the one thing that I would love to tell everybody who has an eating disorder and thinks that once they get to that certain number, everything is going to be better. It's not. It's still you. Yeah. You are there. Yeah. And if you're not happy with you, it's not going to be any different then. You're just going to be, you're going to have hollowed out eyes.
I know, you're going to look so great. Everyone's going to ask you, are you okay? Well, that was the other thing I wanted to talk about too, was the fact that you said, I'm going to start today. And I know for those of you who are listening along at home, it's the December month. And, everyone's asking me, oh, you're going to get real busy soon because of January, right? And it's like, yeah. But why? Like, I will never forget, again, clearly I forgot who told me this. So if you told me this, thank you. The change of the calendar means absolutely nothing. When you are ready to make a change, this is for everyone right now who's listening to this, when you are ready to make a change, make it. Like, for me, when I wanted to stop putting my head in the toilet, I was like, it wasn't a January. It wasn't even like a Monday. I don't know what day it was because I wasn't sober, but it was a day where I was like, oh, I should probably stop doing this. I don't need to wait till 12 o'clock midnight where the calendar rolls over and it's, January 1st. I encourage people to find their why and find it now, because I'm not getting any younger. I don't know who has the secret to doing that, but it's never going to get easier. And like you said, it's only going to get harder. And stop putting that off.
Yeah, and I mean, one thing that you brought up was I don't think that you have to find your no before you find your why. I don't remember making a decision to stop putting my head in the toilet.
That's true.
It's just, I probably moved on to laxatives at that
right?
point.
And that's so sad. Is like, that's probably what happened to me too. Where it's like, oh, I don't need to throw up anymore. I could just run a marathon. Or I could just run my 20 miles. Like, yeah. But again,
but you're right. There is a point where you do make a decision.
Yeah.
And you have to decide, I'm not going to live like this anymore.
Yeah.
And the only way that you're not going to live like that anymore is if you make a change.
Yeah.
You can't just say it and then go about doing the exact same things, because you're not going to change anything. And if you want to get better, if you want to feel better, if you want to feel happy, find your why, and then find your how. How are you going to get there? I mean, you may know that your why is you want to get up off the ground, but that's a great want. But now I've got to plan out exactly how I'm going to do that. Yeah. I'm going to get up at 5 a.m. to be at a place at 6. I'm going to...
I love you said that with such love.
I'm going to track my food.
Yeah.
I'm going to eat some vegetables. I'm going to, do some stretching and give myself the rest that I need.
Oh, that's a big one that we don't really talk about. If you're going back to interviewing your trainer, if your trainer doesn't say take a day off, run the other way. That is so important. Coming from somebody who never takes a day off. And that's, and it's again, all or nothing mentality of like, well, I have to be at work all day or at the store all day or the gym all day, because if I'm not, then I'm not being successful, I guess, is though, there is, what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe responsibility. Maybe because I'm not responsible, but like there is certain responsibilities you need to uphold.
But there's also a fear of forcing yourself to be somewhere, because what if they can do it without you?
Ah, no.
Oh, yeah, no.
They're not allowed. Oh, I don't like that you said that. But that's so true. See how we're learning something new about like talking about running a marathon in Kauai? Honolulu. Yep. Now I know where I want to go. But how could you ever, it's taken me, I don't want to age myself. It's taken me about 15 years to figure out that like, oh, see, that's why I could never let my best friend drive. Oh, I want people to do this way. Oh, I get it. But rest is a super huge important thing.
Yeah.
God. Now I'm like all flustered. Thanks. That was the one thing also I wanted to talk about too, is that did you find that when you started to make a change with your fitness habits, did your friends at the time know that when you signed up for your first marathon, were they like, oh, that's a great, were they supportive, or were they like, no, you're not?
I'm pretty sure they chuckled behind my back. When I was training for my first marathon, I went to a running store in Burbank that no longer exists, and it was run by an older gentleman who I will not name. And I walked in and I told him that I was training for my first marathon, and he looked at me and goes, "You'll never finish."
He said that to your face?
He said that to my face.
At least he said it to your face.
That's true.
Balls.
But so I took that determination all the way to the finish line, and I was
Hell
like,
yeah.
I am finishing this thing. And now I look back, and I don't know why he said that to me.
Yeah, why?
There was nothing. I mean,
you were just this nice girl who was like, hey, I would like to buy some shoes, please. Here's some money.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe he was like your Mr. Miyagi, who was this'll get her.
Maybe. No, I don't think so.
That is the rudest thing. You're a much better person than I for not saying his name.
No, but I think that helps me working at Fleet Feet is encouraging people because I know what it's like to not be encouraged.
Yeah.
So if you come in and you say, I'm going to try and walk a mile, I am right there behind you and I'm going to see what I can do to help you and for you to believe in it. One of my biggest pet peeves is when people walk in, and it's usually women, and they go, well, I'm not a real runner. And I'm like,
People say this?
Yes, constantly. Hey, there's a T-shirt that says it.
I mean, I get it, but I've never been like,
No,
it's serious about it.
No, it's very serious. People put themselves down, and I'm constantly saying, well, let's see, are you putting on shoes and are you sweating? Then you're a real runner. Forget this. I'm not a real runner if I'm not clocking a certain distance or time or anything. But I don't know where this you're not a real runner.
Where did that originate?
I don't know.
So it's not just me. But that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
If you're putting on shoes and you're going out the door, you're a real runner.
Well, I think that there became a issue between running and jogging. And
Oh, I could see that.
You're like, oh, don't call me a jogger. I'm a runner, even though I'm really slow. But, I don't. Somehow jogger became derogatory.
That's not. Yeah. Well, I mean, you know what's derogatory, and I'm going to bring it up probably every podcast, is when that lady who's pregnant with a baby in a stroller
passes me.
Yes. That's not okay, but it's okay, everybody. We know that it is. That's amazing. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Is there something? Oh, damn it. Now I lost my train of thought.
But that's okay. I will have to say that I'm not completely altruistic because I was in a race once where there was a guy who was just a few feet ahead of me and he was wearing those white leather New Balances. And I was like, I'll be damned if somebody wearing those shoes is going to beat me.
Oh my God. I want a photo of that so bad. Oh.
So you find your motivation where you find it.
Yes. Point being is that someone wears some white New Balances when we're allowed to race again, and I would love to see that.
It was a trail run.
It was a trail run?
It was a trail run.
But I'm over here like, first off, I don't know if you remember saying this to me. There was a Spartan race that I ran with Simsies, RIP Burbank Simsies. But they paid for our registration fee. I was like, there's no way that I'm not doing this. And Spartan race is a whole nother podcast we got to talk about. But like, I had to get trail shoes like immediately. And I was like, I'm just going to go a big 5. And I wore them to class one day. And I was like, yeah, I got them. Someone said, oh, did you get new trail shoes? I'm like, yeah. It's like, yeah, I got them at Big 5 or Dick's or whatever. And I was like, I don't know if I really like them. I don't know if they're going to be as good. And you're like, you didn't get them at Fleet Feet. They're not going to be good. And I was like, Becky's right. Okay, I still have them, but I weightlifted them because they're so thin. My God. Anyway, but before we leave, I would like to. Are we allowed to talk back about the guy who showed up late to your training session?
Oh, sure.
We don't have to use his name. We can call him Jay-Z.
We won't call him Vinny. Okay.
His name is not Vinny. Is this here in L.A.?
It was here in L.A. He's no longer in L.A.
I thought you were like, he's no longer alive.
I don't know. Maybe he is. But you know what, though? I had to really find my voice and be that girl who just signed up at the gym and went up to the trainer and said, this is unacceptable. You cannot be 2 hours late. You can't stand me up like this while I'm paying. I was driving from El Segundo to Burbank in rush hour traffic to get to the session, and he wasn't showing up. And the ability for me to be able to tell him that this was unacceptable was actually a really great growth because I was in the gym and I was the newbie and, maybe I don't know anything about trainers. Maybe they don't show up. I don't know. But I knew my self-worth. And I think that is another area that starts your fitness journey.
Yeah. That is the coolest thing I've heard all day. I've heard a lot of cool things today, but that was the most I'm proud of and coolest thing I've heard all day. Yeah, stick it to not Guy, Vinny.
Yeah.
Well, I want to ask you one more thing. I'm so sorry.
Sure.
What was he dressed as? I'm sorry.
I'm trying to remember. It was really creepy because he was a very short person to start with, and he had like
I'm trying to figure out if I know this person.
Oh no!
Was it at a gym I'm trying to keep it real vague.
Still open? Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, was it? Okay, we'll talk off camera, off mic.
I will. Okay, the benefit of it was he tried to be Mr. Snotty Pants and said, well, fine, then you're going to have to work out with Brian. And Brian ended up being one of my best friends.
Oh,
so
that's
there.
Brian.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so it wasn't all bad. It was a good
No,
thing.
exactly. I'm like, guess what,
Oh.
Vinny? I'm better off without
Look
you.
at me now. Okay, what was, and you feel free, you don't have to answer this, but I like to try and ask all my guests this. What is your favorite race? It doesn't have to be one. Do you have a favorite race that you've ran?
Portland. Even with
Really?
even with a train, even the fact that it was in 2001 and people didn't dress up at the time, but I wore...
Oh, it wasn't Hipsterville?
Well, I mean, when they went to races, they didn't wear tutus and stuff like that.
Oh, that's right. That's a thing now.
That is a thing now. But back in 2001, I wore a bright pink wig for my entire race. It was the hottest day Portland had ever had.
Oh.
It was like 85 degrees, and I was running with a pink wig. But I had gone up there by myself, and it gave people something to cheer for. And people were like, go pink hair, go pink hair. And it was really fun. And people were like, okay, I was using you as a timer, so that means that my friend is about 5 minutes behind you. So it actually is my favorite race.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's so cool. I will never dress up for a marathon. I dressed up for one 5K or 10K. I can't remember. And I was a cookie because it was when Tough Cookie Training first opened.
Oh.
And I ran the Burbank YMCA 5K. Yeah, it was not worth it. I was like, I don't know how people do this. Do you have a race that you dislike the most? How about your least favorite?
My least favorite race was a half marathon in San Diego called America's Finest. And I should have just known.
What was it? Was it like everyone has American flags or what?
No. It was, I guess San Diego was America's finest city or something like that. But this half marathon was it felt to me almost all uphill, and you would go up a block, you'd turn, and it would be up again. And you'd think, okay, we're going to get up to the top of this, and I'm going to turn, and it's going to be down. Nope, it's up again, and you're still going up, and you're still going up. I got all the way up to the top, got finished, missed my bus back to the hotel. It was a point to point, so I was stuck. It was before Uber, before Lyft.
Oh, that's so rude.
I didn't have any cash on me. I had to walk an additional 2 miles before I found a what do they call those things? Taxis. And I didn't have any money, so I had to find somebody who would take me back to the hotel and then wait. Yeah, exactly.
Here's my running shoes. Hold on to this.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
me.
Here I am. I'm smelly and I'm bitter.
Oh my God. I love San Diego. I love running the San Diego Marathon, but that's just rude. Why? Because San Diego it's like a big city, so they are. If you're listening, San Diego, you are full well known. You can make a loop. Was it in not Echo Park, Park?
It ended in Balboa, I think.
Oh yeah, no, I can see that being gross and hilly.
Yeah.
Anyway. Well, from one person who's an overworker to another, I want to thank you for taking one of your very few days off to come and hang out with us. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you and everything that you do, not only for me, but for everyone that you come in contact with.
Thank you.
You're a super strong, tough cookie, and I'm so blessed to have known you. Is there any Instagram account or Facebook account that you would like to plug before we throw up signs?
I'm nice and private.
Not even, well, how about Fleet Feet?
Fleet Feet, you can always find me at Fleet Feet.
I was like, listen, Colin, we're doing this for you. Great. No, thank you so much, Miss Becky. Anything else you want to say before we head out of here?
Thank you so much. You're great.
God.
You've been one of the best neighbors.
Oh God,
and best surprises ever.
I hope one day everyone can see that. Thank you, Miss Becky.